Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League came out to mixed reception, and with Arkham Shadow on the way, here's hoping it does better than its predecessor. This got us thinking, which games in the Arkham universe left its mark for all the right reasons and others were more on the forgettable side.
Now let's get this party started.
Welcome to Game Rant, everyone. I'm Bilal, and here's every Batman Arkham game ranked from worst to best. Starting at the very bottom, Batman Arkham Origins Mobile. Despite having the same name, Arkham Origins on mobile is a completely different game from the one on the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, primarily because on iOS and Android, the game was a brawler, not an action-adventure title. In 2021, Arkham Origins Mobile was removed from the Apple and Play stores, so it is no longer possible to legally download the free-to-play game. It was a freemium game, so expectations for it were never high. The fighting was simple, and the lack of variety in Batman's opponents didn't help. However, the restrictive stamina system meant players could not brawl for long periods unless they wanted to spend money. Yeah, microtransactions didn't help this game either. Next up, Batman Arkham Underworld. Underworld is a different sort of mobile game from Origins. It's also a freemium title, but instead of fighting Batman's villains, players control them. Similar to its companion app, Underworld was eventually removed from stores, and it lasted a far shorter time than Origins. The goal was to build up a criminal empire using management skills. Players also get to partake in a little bit of fighting during missions. That said, the game was mostly about strategy. It was fine, but aside from the voice actors, it was an Arkham game in name only. Following up with Batman Arkham City Lockdown. Any game that followed up Asylum and City was going to struggle to live up to their excellence. Arkham City Lockdown, however, has avoided any comparisons to those classics because it's nothing like them. The title has more in common with its successor, Arkham Origins Mobile. It's an iOS and Android fighter where Batman takes on various goons. The brawling is simplistic and repetitive, but at least it's fast-paced. In comparison to most mobile fighters, it's fine compared to the best of the Arkham series. It's just mediocre. Next up, Arkham Origins Blackgate. With Blackgate, Armature Studio attempted to bring Arkham to handheld consoles. To do this, they made certain changes to account for the less powerful systems, with the main one being the switch to a 2.5D perspective. The result is not perfect. The combat and stealth feel shallow compared to the main Arkham games, whereas the environments are very repetitive and uninteresting. At least the game recounts the first meeting between Batman and Catwoman. An argument could be made that Underworld and Lockdown were more interesting games than Blackgate, but the fact that the latter can still be played today gives it the edge. Next up, the Arkham Trilogy. Batman Arkham Trilogy for the Switch is in a strange place that makes it a simultaneously decent option, but also difficult to recommend. As the title suggests, this package comes with Arkham Asylum, City, and Knight. While these projects are fairly old, the option to play them on the go using the Switch does have its benefits. Along with all the vanilla content that adds up to the comfortably more than 30 hours for just the main stories, the trilogy also comes with the DLC, most of which are pretty darn good. Now, the main sticking point is, of course, the performance. The Switch was never going to compete with the PC or even PS4 and Xbox One versions, and that expectation holds very true. However, Arkham Asylum and City are more playable on Nintendo systems, and the latter runs surprisingly well. Conversely, Arkham Knight is a bit of a mess. Anyone even contemplating picking up this release should not take Arkham Knight into account. Next up, Return to Arkham. Once a popular game is around long enough, it's bound to get remastered in some form, and that's what happened to the first two Arkham titles in this collection. They aren't the most inspiring remasters though. All Return to Arkham does is give both Asylum and City slight visual upgrades. It didn't improve the frame rate of the two games, so the gameplay is largely unchanged. Still, it's nice to have them both on newer consoles to ensure they are as accessible as possible. Furthermore, this compilation is backward compatible with the PS5 and Xbox Series X/S. Still, this doesn't feel like the definitive way to play Asylum and City. It was nice at the time for people who didn't play the originals, but aside from that, there's better options. Following up with the infamous Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. While not the worst Arkham game, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the most disappointing and downright polarizing. Rocksteady's long-awaited return to this beloved universe steadily turned sour as more and more news regarding the project came out, particularly its game-as-a-service model and a combat system revolving around guns and loot. It was surrounded by so much controversy to the point of it being considered a failure before even hitting the shelves. Does that mean this game has nothing to offer? Well, no, but it also doesn't offer that much. The game is visually stunning, and the minute-to-minute action is fast-paced, frantic, and has some weight to it. Each member of the Suicide Squad does have unique movement abilities that are fairly enjoyable to use. Unfortunately, the gunplay reduces the character's uniqueness during combat, so they don't shine as individuals as much as they should. Taking number 5, Arkham VR. The chance to feel what it's like to be Batman is enticing, and that's close to what Arkham VR offers. Although it's mostly the detective side of the Dark Knight's crusade that players get to experience, players get to solve compelling puzzles to find out what happened to Nightwing and Robin. It's an engaging and imaginative game that makes good use of the PlayStation VR. Nevertheless, Arkham VR doesn't match the scale and depth of the bigger entries in the series, and it does come across as a tech demo. Taking number 4, Arkham Origins. This prequel could have easily been a disaster. Rocksteady wasn't the developer, and Kevin Conroy along with Mark Hamill weren't on the voice cast. Yet, all of their replacements did great, especially Warner Bros. Games Montreal, who proved they could make a solid Arkham game. The only downside to Origins is its lack of innovation. Besides some shock gloves, it doesn't do anything that its predecessors didn't. The map does include more of Gotham, although for the most part it's Arkham City's open world with a Christmas coat of paint. Where this game 100% shines, however, is its boss fights. No Arkham game has yet to top the boss fights in Origins. Taking bronze, Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight presents the end of a story that started with Asylum, and it's a truly captivating last chapter as Batman has to deal with his own mental instability caused by the Joker. Not every aspect of the narrative is amazing though, as the titular villain twist is fairly predictable for anyone remotely familiar with the comics or wider Batman lore. Arkham Knight's combat sections and Predator sections, though, are just as fluid and fun as ever, and in fact, from a gameplay perspective, this title is arguably the best Batman Arkham game. Yet, they're constantly intruded by the elephant in the room, the polarizing Batmobile sequences. Controlling the car isn't awful, but man oh man, the game forces players to use it way too much. Overall, though, Arkham Knight's positives heavily outweigh its negatives. At second place, Arkham Asylum. Nobody knew what to expect from Arkham Asylum before it was released. Comic book games didn't have the best track record after all. When it hit the shelves though, it blew everyone away. The fighting mechanics, stealth sections, tone, everything about the game fits the Dark Knight perfectly. Likewise, the voice acting is spectacular, with Kevin Conroy's Batman and Mark Hamill's Joker being the best adaptations of those DC characters. Fans will never forget the time they first strolled around the Joker-ran Asylum. And at number 1, Batman Arkham City. It was a lot to ask of Arkham City to match the quality of the near-perfect Arkham Asylum. The Arkham Asylum sequel managed to surpass its predecessor by delivering an unbelievable open-world adventure. For instance, the wonderful combat added many new gadgets and attacks, whereas the confining asylum has been replaced with a full city that's filled with things to do. The larger area leaves room for more of Batman's friends and foes, including Two-Face, Penguin, and Catwoman. Each new character joins Batman in the best Batman story, which has one of the best video game endings of all time. And that is every Batman Arkham game ranked from worst to best. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.